Well, thank you everyone for joining our second XIP Tech Review. And Mujtaba, thank you for agreeing to talk through the XIP about deleting messages. Yes?
Definitely. Thank you, Jeha. Hey,
Mhm.
everyone. We're going to talk about the delete message, the more detailed XIP that we prepared. This is the Notion link. Also, I have a PR. I can link the PR. If you prefer to read the doc on GitHub, that would be the link. And also, I can share my screen and we can talk about and walk through it. But let me just talk about the whole general idea so we can discuss it face to face and then we can go into the document. So what's the idea? The idea is that we give the users the ability to send a command and delete a specific message that they already sent. And that's for general purpose, every user in the system. But also for moderation purposes, we want to allow the super admin to delete someone else's message if they see like a harmful message or like someone is not following the group rule, etc., etc. So they can go and delete a specific message by their message ID from the group. So that's the whole concept for now. Although we have a couple of ideas how we want to manage that. We have three general ideas how we want to delete a message on the other side. One idea is that keep the original message on the user's device and make kind of soft delete on it. So when we receive the delete message, the second content type, to says delete Coda's message from the other day, and we only don't show it to the user in the UI. That would be the soft delete. The second way is to handle that is to retract the body of the message, but keep the footprint of the message and timestamp the message ID, who sent it, when sent it, and the installation ID and everything. So that would be a little bit more. We can make sure if there is a client that they don't respect they go and query the database directly and they show the messages so they don't get the message by the end. If there is a hacker got into your device, then we can make sure that there is no data if they retracted the message, so we deleted the message. The other way is that more restricted is that we delete both the delete command and the original message totally. But there is a big problem. The problem is we have a ordering issue. What if you receive the delete command before the original message? What would happen? And then that would make a lot of stuff complicated. That's the reason that we have to deal with a lot of stuff. And the XIP that I prepared here is mostly focusing on the first version and the first iteration that would only do the soft delete. Because if you go down to the XIP, we mentioned that's not a security version. It's not a security feature because whenever you receive a message and decrypt it, then you own it because no one can prevent you of storing it, keeping it in your cache, or getting a backup of it or taking a screenshot of it. So that's the reason that we don't consider the delete messages security feature. It's only like a user experience feature that we allow the users to delete their messages. So we don't have big concerns about deleting the messages from the DB, from your DB, or retracting them, or either deleting them totally. So that's the reason that we want to deliver only the first part, the soft delete, and only handling it via queries and don't show the message to the user. That's the general idea, how we want to do it. If you have any questions so far, that would you can shoot. And just one other small other concern here, that I said only super admin can delete the message now, other than the sender itself. Because if we want to allow admins to delete the messages as well, we need to introduce a new permission level for the admins. So the super admin can allow that admin with that specific permission to delete the messages. Since we don't have that permission, and I'm a little bit afraid of introducing some breaking changes to those levels, and it's a little bit too complicated for this one because we are a little bit in pressure of releasing this. So yeah, we're just going with the super admin and yourself plus soft delete and only in the queries. So if you have any questions about the whole idea, please shoot. Other than that, I will go and jump into the implementation detail a little bit in the XIP at least. Okay, then. So let's jump into the XIP itself. Where is Notion? Okay. Do you see my Notion?
Yep.
Awesome. So this is the Notion doc. Here, all of the ideas why we want to do this. So this is the new content type that we're introducing. This is the delete message content type, the new portal that only contains the message ID. There is no need to specify who's the sender, etc., who's the admin, etc., because we have the sender inbox ID. We can compare them locally and reject them if we want. So that's the whole idea. One thing that I will come back to it later at the end of the XIP, probably you think of, oh, why if we want to delete not only one message, but a couple of messages? Or why if we want to delete like messages in a time period of like time? Let's say all the messages from yesterday till now. What if I want to delete all the messages from Nick for some reasons? Like I see, oh, Nick started like his device got compromised. I see a lot of messages here. I want to delete all of Nick's messages. That would be, I say, for like next iteration in the future when we got some feedbacks from the integrator. If they want it, we can like work on that. But for now, we only want to like minimum like the difficulty and the complexity here. So it's only one message ID. But if you have any comments, we can consider that. So the authorization rule, as I mentioned, we validate the message for like we authorize if you were the sender, if that message does exist at your local database. So I want to delete a message that doesn't exist on my local database. So I can't get the message ID to validate it. So yeah, we message validate against that. And of course, we check if you are a super admin, and then you can delete others' messages. Or if you are not a super admin, if you're trying to delete your own message, that's okay. Otherwise, we show you an error, of course. And for now, based on the discussion that I had with Nick, for now, we won't allow you to delete transcript messages like membership changes, etc., etc. So, for example, if I add Nick to the group, I can delete that specific message. And actually, I think I need to verify it, but I think we cannot since we generate that message locally. So I think I didn't verify it yet, but I have in mind like to write a test for that. If the idea of the message, the transcript message would be the same on my device and others' devices. So basically, if that's not the same, so we can delete it because we don't know what's the message ID. That's transcript message ID on your device. So I can delete that. When you receive a message, a delete message ID, what happened there? So let me, okay, yeah. So let's assume that we process the message. Yeah, it's a valid message, is the sender, is the admin, etc., etc. So we put it in the database. But I didn't want to like make a lot of complexity when we store the message and the processing it. We just want to store it and then filter the delete message in the queries. So during the receiving the message and storing it in the database, we don't have a lot of complexity. We don't have a lot of computations. Only decrypt it, do just 1-2 checks and insert it in the DB, because we handle all the the everything in the queries. So whenever you want to fetch a message, we want to see if that message has a delete corresponding or associated delete message with that. Or so if that happens, we show a delete message. So we show that message as deleted. So we check if the sender inbox ID matches the original message, then everything is fine. If it's not, then if that user is an admin, then we mark that, oh, that's an admin. We store that in the database, the admin status. Why? Because let's assume that Nick is a super admin in the group. He deletes my message. But 2 days from now, they remove him as a super admin and now like demoted to a normal user. So we want to make sure we store the action, like the super admin status when we receive that delete message. at that time. So that's the reason we need to do calculation and store it in the database and mark it. Oh, is this message was deleted by the superadmin? So then, since we have the table for messages, and if we store the delete message in the database, we need a lot of queries and joins and left joins and again join like fast joins between the message tables. And that will make a lot of complications. So that's the reason I considered to create a new table to hold only the record of deleted messages. Just for FYI, we still keep the delete message content type in the normal database, but we keep the track of the deletion in the message deletion table. That's the reason, just to make everything easy to join and search. And that actually would help with the out of order delivery, because when we receive the message later, since we are joining with this table, whenever we receive the message and we join it with this extra table, if that message had a delete message before it, then boom, it would work. It would be easy to handle. This is like the whole database scheme. And I see I got a comment here. Yeah, okay, makes sense. Some indexing. This is the out of order handling. Yeah, the query. So when we query the messages, I had in mind a couple of like edge cases. One is like whenever we receive we query normal messages. That would work easily. And one edge case that I have is when we want to show the last message in a conversation. What we have the conversation list item. Actually, it's like the whole conversation item about a group plus the last message that we have for that conversation in the database. So for example, if you go to your chat list and you see, oh, you have a conversation with Nick, below it shows, oh, Nick says hi. So that's the last message preview. So what would happen if Nick deletes his message? Okay, we have two ways of handling that. One way is just don't show that message and says it's deleted. The last message is deleted. One way is to traverse back and filter them and go and see which one is not deleted and then show the real last one. Telegram kind of does that. WhatsApp does the first solution that shows the deleted message there. So for now, I consider that we don't traverse back in time to see what message was before that, then show that. We can do it certainly. But now we show, yeah, Nick has a deleted message. Actually, the apps, the integrators can decide if they want to show anything or keep Nick's conversation without a last message preview. Just one thing here that I considered when I implemented this feature on other apps, actually. So Telegram, what Telegram does is when they Nick says hi and his last message from 5 days ago. So when Nick deletes his message, they actually put Nick last message time to the 5 days ago. So Nick's will go down again in the same spot as 5 days ago. But with the implementation that we have, even though Nick deleted his message, he will appear in the first conversation in the list. I would say that's okay. WhatsApp does the same. A lot of messengers does the same because we have the recent activity of Nick from a couple of seconds ago. That's
So
only
I have
about the
questions
ordering.
around this query time
Mhm.
message adjustment. Um,
Yeah.
so one, I'm maybe a little worried about being too clever in this relatively low level API where we have transcript messages and other things. We don't generally do a lot of enhancements to messages in this API. Like it's a good tool to debug what's actually coming off the network here. And so if we're changing stuff around, changing content types, it might make our lives more difficult. I wonder if this should only happen in enriched messages where we're doing a lot of magic on top of the raw message data. So in that world, you would have conversation messages shows the original message and the deletion, and then the enriched messages would delete it. I wonder if we're going to cause problems for integrators replacing content that might be of one content type with content of another type, with how they might be caching or storing things at the application level. You know, you have an image, it gets deleted. Now it's replaced by a text message. They have to think through the entire content of the message being mutable, which is probably not how developers are constructing their app right now, since messages have been immutable up until this.
That's a great point. I would think it that, yeah, for the enriched messages, I would agree that that's a great place to like customize this stuff and communicate it with others. But I'm worried about the rest of the places, like the conversation messages. So maybe we need to communicate it better. I'm not sure because with your case, I agree we don't break their experience, but we are kind of like it looks like for me if we give them the duplicated DMs without letting them know that they were giving them the duplicate DMs because we're giving them both messages. The one is deleted and the delete command, and it could like piss them off. That's I saw the discussions about the stitched DMs because I would say we can introduce a flag that says, "Oh, flatten all the messages with the deleted ones, or don't do it," because and then we give them the ability to decide if their app breaks.
Yeah, I'd be open to a flag. I wonder if they're going to have to handle some amount of this on their own anyway because of streams. In the streaming context, you get the original message, and then you're going to get the deletion that comes later, and you kind of have to be able to work. Yeah, maybe in a world where we have enriched message streams, we can do something nicer than that, where we
Mhm.
just tell you, hey, this previous message ID was deleted as an event in the stream. But until we have that, it seems like developers are going to have to be somewhat aware of the delete message itself.
Yeah, the same situation with Word about the DM stitching.
Hmm.
Yeah, I will consider that. Thank you, Nick, for pointing out. I will consider that if we can add something here. I will add something here probably for that, but I would say we can rely mostly on the release doc as well. When we release this, we can like explain a little bit about the situations, like instead of like putting them in the limbo, like we can explain, okay, if you're using a streaming that's happening, if you're wants to use like conversation that messages, there is a flag that there is a chance that you receive the delete plus the original message. But if you use enriched messages, 100% sure the original message is deleted, etc., etc. So we need to explain it, better communication with them. But I agree. Yeah, I added this as well, the deleted by, because what I wanted to do, so I was thinking of the deleted by a case that we say either the sender deleted this message or the super admin. And then I thought, oh, let's add the inbox ID of the super admin because that would be nice to see which super admin deleted my message. So that's the reason that we have a string here that we show the super admin inbox ID or later an admin. So that would be easy to handle. I can also like just keep it admin and keep the string because it doesn't matter if we say super admin or admin because someone with admin privilege like delete that message. If we put the string, the inbox ID, like how I did in the XMPP.chat, so just if you have this inbox ID, they can show their profile. So it would be easy for everyone to use that.
Yeah, it seems
So,
like admin gives us more flexibility to roll out more nuanced permissions later without having
mhm.
to update this.
Yeah, definitely. So
Yeah, I worry about showing the placeholder if they're not ready for it. Like if you're rolling out an update to the app, are they going to handle the
mm,
placeholder nicely?
yeah, I agree. So what can I do? I can in my query, I say if that last message, the last message should be the one that doesn't have a connection to the deleted table. That's
Exactly.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not hard, just I was wondering about the UI UX. So I didn't know which solution we want to go. Because there is a, and actually I don't think that would be a problem because So since we filter, I'm not sure the conversation list item, what timestamp shows as the recent activity. Do we have any recent activity of that user for showing it, like setting it in the
Mhm.
list? If it's only based on the message, the last message, then that would be okay because I'm like traversing back and that would be
think
okay.
I think we have a trigger that sets the last activity.
Oh, so that's the another problem. That's the problem that I've mentioned
Yeah.
because I see Nick is on top of my conversation, but it's not. He deleted
Yeah.
his message.
And maybe it's okay that the last activity was deleting a message and that sets the timestamp. That is still
Mhm.
activity.
Yeah, but we still showing the message from 5 days ago, and that's the
Mm,
problem.
yeah.
So that inconsistency, like it's a little
Yeah.
bit.
I mean, ideally, I guess we would, when you process a deletion, set the last activity to the second last message. That would be
So
ideal. Or the last
yeah,
non-deleted message.
yeah, but since we don't do any post processing and this all happening in query time, we can do
Mm,
triggering to check that. That's the problem. And since we
yeah.
don't have that ordering, we can guarantee the ordering here. So there is a chance that I received the delete message before your message, and I can't trigger anything about that. So it's a little bit complicated. But for maybe V2 or V3, we can, with the worker that I've mentioned to you, so we can probably fix a couple of these stuff here. So one of the things that worried me about the pagination, because what would happen for the pagination? So let's say I have 100 messages with Unique and I go like scrolling and paginate like the first 50 messages with you and you deleted one of them. Or like the whole pagination needs to work because what if you deleted your last 50 messages?
Yeah.
And then we don't. So this is here a little bit of consideration that I only wanted to mention, and like this is like a to-do list for me, so I consider it while I'm fixing the queries here and there and writing tests actually based on this. So yeah, that's one of the thing that I wanted to mention, like a little bit complexity here to make sure that we handle the pagination like properly.
Yeah. Like if we keep the tombstone messages, the pagination doesn't change. There was a message there. Now there's still a message.
Yeah, but what if one of the integrator doesn't want to show the tombstone?
Yeah, then
That would be a problem.
yeah, exactly. And they would still
Yeah,
be able to paginate correctly, but they just get less results in each page than they expect.
yeah, exactly. So the restriction, non-deletable message, as I've mentioned. So here are some error types I've added, like some of like the examples that we have, the future iteration, the message retraction that we only retract part of the message. And I've mentioned here the admin permissions. And yeah, the traverse backward that I've mentioned, that probably we do a little bit of it. The bulk deletion, as I mentioned, that it's nice to have maybe later, not for now. And since it's a new content type, I would say it's backward compatible because if you can't handle that backward compatibility, you just ignore it or like say that message is not, you can show it. Plus, of course, you will have the original message also on your screen. And yeah, here, based on the discussion also I had with Nick, and I mentioned that here, it's not a security feature. We wanted this to be there here so everyone would make sure that we make sure that everyone knows why this feature is here. But also I mentioned that if you have a cache, so they keep the messages around. If you get a backup, of course, you have like a backup of the messages. If you screenshot, copy the message, etc., etc. And I had mentioned here because this is the same case as the disappearing messages, uh, and the message is not deleted on the network, so it's already there. So we can't do anything about it. It's only on local handling. And yeah, this is it. Yeah. Okay, this is like just a diagram created like with the help of AI here. database indexes, etc. And that's it.
I have a question.
Yeah, please shoot.
So in this V1, is anything, obviously there's a new database. So when this message is received, is there a worker running that's
No,
processing?
no workers.
Okay,
No workers
so
this time.
so what I run conversation delete message, that then does what exactly? It automatically does this database work and then sends that message?
So first it will send the message. And when we receive the message back, like, yeah, the message was sent from the network, etc. So we insert the delete relationship into the tables of the messages and the message deletion. And then based on that query that the enriched messages, you should see the tombstone for that message because it says it's deleted.
Okay, so in that case, I mean, if we're doing this, something I'm thinking about is the content types. Most of those are going to be in Rust in the very near future. So all clients will support this out of the box, again, in the near future. So they should be able to see this happening. But I'm curious, is this also going to trigger a stream message in the message deletion streams?
It should do because
Okay.
it's a normal message.
Sorry, maybe I'm not saying that right. There's a new stream that's not currently in the SDKs called stream message deletions, which is for disappearing messages. Will this also appear
Yeah,
there?
I would again mention that we should just add a little note at the bottom. We should totally fire an event there. Stream delete messages should pick this up.
Okay, cool. Because that, again, if we don't necessarily have this content type in Rust immediately, we'll still have the ability to pick up the deletion in the stream and do what we need to do on the front end there. Okay, cool. That was my question.
Thank you.
So are the deleted messages, is their content being deleted in the database, or is it we're not touching the original message at all?
No, we're not. At least for V1, we don't touch anything. It's just a relationship between the two messages, and based on that, we don't pass the data back again in the query. That's it.
And is there a new status? I'm sorry, is there a new status, a deleted status? Because there's like published, unpublished, whatever. Is there a deleted status for the message when it's deleted?
I didn't consider to use that, but that's a good point. I will rethink this part if I can benefit from that. Probably I can do something about that. It would be nice. It would be easier to handle. I totally forgot. I kind of totally missed that, the status of the message. Because of the problem of the message receiving ordering. So I didn't want to rely on those. I only wanted to rely on the relationship between the two tables.
Okay, I'm just thinking of potentially filtering out the deleted messages. Obviously, we can filter out the content type of delete message, but also potentially filter out the messages that have been deleted themselves.
So the thing is here, if you query for enriched messages, you would receive, instead of a text message, a deleted message content.
Gotcha.
So you don't need to handle is deleted, etc., because you'd receive the new whole thing but in the same spot of that original message.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't gotten into enriched messages yet, so I think that's going to become probably the default in the future. So that makes sense.
Yeah, thanks to Nick for that.
I look forward to the day we can just call them messages.
Yeah, so it's almost like an implied advice with this feature is that you should either be using enriched messages or you should have your own presentation database on top of our kind of core messages.
Yeah, which I think in a world with
That's fine.
replies and reactions is already the case. I don't know how you do reactions well without your own database.
Yeah, that's a great point. Okay, so we have two links here, one Notion, one the PR. Feel free to put your comments wherever that you're comfortable with it. And it's not going to be end of the world if you don't review it right now, but it would be great to review it right now because we have experiences of like doing late reviews, and after the implementation, that makes everything hard. So, but yeah, we're gonna go with the like most easiest one, kinda between all of these complicated like other solutions, workers, etc., poster processing, and all of these complicated things. But yeah, now it's in progress. Actually, it would be great to have your opinions on it. And I think, yeah, that's it for the edit messages. I don't have anything yet. But yeah, we're gonna probably start discussing the edit message because it's more complicated and more like requires a lot of thinking there. And we're gonna probably, at least from my perspective, probably will take a deep look on the Mimi protocol as well for the edit messages because Rowan and everyone there, they did a great thinking about how they should handle the edit message. So yeah, that's it from my side. Jeha, over to you.
All right. Well, wonderful. Thank you for your PR to the XIP repo. And also, we'll get the updated version into the forum as well in draft format for anyone in the technical community who wants to comment.
Oh,
Great.
just one question for you, Jeha, because we already have an XIP for edit and delete message, and both of them are in one XIP number. So I'm not sure what we want to do about that. Do we want to retract that or like update it with this version and like just name it as the delete message? So that's I don't know what we want to do about it.
Ah, yeah, we could withdraw the original and have the deleted messages and edit messages in two separate XIPs with
Mhm,
edit messages
mhm.
coming up. What do you think?
I'm not sure if we have we have the draft one published such as such status. I'm not sure what status that we have, but of course we can withdraw it or like say it's rejected, and we have and we can update it with a comment. This is like the more in detail like implementation or draft, just for everyone if they pick the link and like find it.
Oh yeah, we also have superseded by.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's great.
yeah. Thank you for
Yeah,
asking.
just for the historic, like sake of history, keeping track of everything.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So
All right.
I'm just the new guy, but I feel like this implementation is going to be really brittle over the long run with having to look for deleted messages everywhere that we expose them. Like it's going to be easy to forget. Unless you just modify the database at the get-go.
Yeah, but the problem is about the ordering, and when we receive the message, that's a big problem.
Yeah, so the
But
solution to that, so this message deletion table, if the message exists, you can just edit it and you're done. And if it doesn't, you can use that message deletion table as a state. And when you load up a group, just keep a hash map of to be deleted messages. When they show up, you just mark them as deleted right then, and then take them out of the to-do list.
yeah, but the problem is, so we need to check all of these for every message. What I was thinking of for later, probably we can have one view for the messages of a group, then we can like filter that query in the view, and everyone can fetch the messages of a specific group from that view. So we can make sure if we have even like 10 tables beneath that, we can make sure that we are wiring it correctly for everyone else. So instead of like fetching the messages from the normal messages table, even for the enriched ones, we always query that view instead of those tables of joining them every time. Because if we have one sophisticated view, instead of like letting everyone join whatever they want, I would say that would be a great option. And like everyone would use that instead of like the normal messages table. What do you think of that? You don't like
I still
views.
think, yeah. Well, I mean, like you either handle the deletion when the deletion comes in, or you handle it when the actual message comes in. Like you're not going to be holding on to these for a long time, and unless someone sends you a bogus deletion that points at a message that will never come in, right?
So
So
actually, I thought about that as well. I talked to Nick about it. So with the worker. So let's assume that I receive a delete message for a message and I don't receive it like in month. What we do, we keep the epoch for the delete message and like keep track of it. If the group evolved more than 3 epochs of that delete message, then we can forego that message. Because if your delete message already passed the 3 epochs, it means even if your message wasn't within that period of epochs, you can't decrypt it anymore. So you don't need to handle that message anymore. You can throw it away.
but so I don't think you need a worker either way. Like you can just put this onto the group struct that we generate. I mean, I'm not super familiar with the code, but it seems like it could cache these relatively cheaply, and then it's you don't have like the issue when you're streaming of like having to do database lookups and everything.
I would consider that, think about it, and probably talk to you about it. But
I'm just trying to get these things to be like maximally lazy and
yeah,
like
totally get your point.
as hard as possible to get wrong in the future. So
I will say, like, having the group messages table be a pretty dumb append only table that, you know, the data is largely immutable, maybe entirely immutable other than sent status. That is also nice for just being able to reason about the code base. Like as soon as we start monkeying around with older messages, you introduce all kinds of new possibilities for racists. And so I do wonder if we want to do the clever stuff somewhere else and still have somewhere that is a really just dumb list of messages of everything we got off the network. Like in the world where we're updating the existing row, do you even keep the delete message anywhere? You kind of don't need it anymore. And so then you're deleting messages right after you receive them, and that can cause all kinds of potential for confusion when you're paginating things.
I mean, I still think you keep the delete message just for consistency, but you go back and edit the other one and then emit the proper events. But anyway, just something to consider.
I think share your concern that because this touches so many places, we're going to forget one. Like the last message in the conversation is a perfect example of a thing where like it's good you called it out, but there could be more of them. We're probably going to introduce more of them.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. What happens if you delete a reaction? How do we make sure that cascades? Well, there's a lot of content like this.
Oh yeah, deleting reactions
That's
is
a
probably
good
going to
point.
be like the #1 thing.
Yeah. I mean, we do have
Yeah.
an unreact. And so you shouldn't really ever delete a reaction because you could just post a new reaction that is removing your
Mm.
previous reaction. But still, people
But it's
might.
still a malicious client can do that. I mean,
Yeah.
so I need actually what I can do, can like filter. So now I prevent of deleting the group updated message plus the transcript messages. So I would say I need to prevent of like deleting the reaction messages as well. Because we have a retracted like that was a good call.
Any other thoughts?
I guess I'm just top of mind. So we have a delete local message function, right? That was recently added.
Mm-hmm.
Would this, I mean, doesn't that already break our assumption around append only messages in some cases?
Yeah. I mean, it's worth figuring out where that sits. Like they want it for a specific security. What if we have sent something that we really just don't want a copy of reason? And so they
Mhm.
do not, or like, what if there is something that has CSAM in it or has a link that they found points to somewhere malicious? And so there's a trust and safety reason for it. But it's possible this supplants that and we just get rid of the delete message need and we can run that by partners.
And actually we delete really the like messages from the DB by disappearing messages. So it's not new.
Yeah, that's also true.
Okay, so thank you. Thank you for your attention, your time, and your attendance. So back to you, Jeha.
I'll just say that I'm so happy that we're having this recurring review. I feel like the XIPs are really getting the, I guess, the respectful and trusted discussion that they deserve. So thank you everyone for sharing your thoughts. Yeah. All right. We'll get the next one on the books. If you have an XIP in mind for 2 weeks from today, just let me know. All right. Take care, everybody.
Thank you. See ya.
Thanks.
Fine.